So, in our last set of interviews, you had talked about Puffy and a corkscrew and him possibly harming himself. Since you did that, I looked into it a little bit and I saw where Gene had spoken about it, and he had always said that it was Kim Porter who allegedly took the corkscrew and, cut Diddy on his wrist. Is that the same incident, or are there two separate corkscrew incidents? And if so, which one do you believe?
Okay. Let me just say this. And Gene, when he speak on stuff like that, when it's concerning Bad Boy Camp and Puffy and all of that, I always said he seemed to be pretty credible. I think he goes a little hard on Puffy because of his dislike for Puffy, but, you know, maybe like me, call it a ball, a strike. He never tell any good things that Puffy do. When I talk bad about Suge, I say the good shit and the bad shit. Y'all don't give me that, fuck y'all. Because that's how I do it. But my point is, this is what Misa told us. And I'll tell this story again. I know y'all done heard it before. As y'all done see, this picture, right? Misa was out kicking it with Suge for about a week or two. And we left after, shit. See, everybody think that Misa was fucking with Suge and around Suge before while Tupac was on death row. Even though I know Suge threw that out in the video and all of that, so that's why I believe y'all believe that. Suge and Misa relationship started before Tupac. It started before Tupac came to death row. Through Mary J. Blige. Misa was out here and took the son. We had went to New York for something. It was some type of show. It wasn't the Source Awards. She didn't come with us after the Source Awards. But it might have been. But it was a show that we did. Because I remember Suge left me in New York and he went back to L.A. And I was staying out there because he just did a quick turnaround to do some of his bullshit. Y'all ever get that story out of me? That would be a good one. And David Kenner gave me some money to take to Misa because she lived out. She didn't live in the city. Like she was with her parents' house, and like I remember the car service took me out somewhere that was kind of far. It was a house that was like in like Lone Islands or somewhere like that. And I took and delivered her some money. And then right after that, she came out to California with us. And so Misa was out there kicking it, and Puffy mother kept calling up to the office, going crazy like, fuck Misa, we don't care, but please send my grandson home. Puffy's out here going crazy, talking about killing himself and shit. And going crazy. So, we was all laughing. Suge thought that was the biggest. Suge loved that. That was a big kick. And Suge was laughing about that and all of that. And so Misa finally, I guess, I'm sure if they were calling the office, I'm sure they were blowing her up. Or blowing up people like Mary J and like that to get a hold to Misa. So Misa is the one that told us that, hey, Suge, not us, Suge, her man, nigga that she was fucking. I'm about to go back home. I'm gonna go back home. This nigga's tripping. He done cut and slit his wrists. He trying to kill himself. And I don't need that. And so I'm gonna go home. Now she probably was tired of Suge because Suge wasn't coming to the hotel wherever he had her laid up every night because Suge had shit. He had about 5 different women he had to please, and not counting the other hundreds that he had on the side. But he had 5 main chicks at that time. I remember going to Victoria's Secret with him before, and we stood up in Victoria's Secret and labeled for each one of the chicks all this different lingerie. And I was like, what? You buying all this shit? I was like, what? Buy them separate. He bought them all the same lingerie. That nigga was. But anyway, so my point is, So I'm sure she was kind of, feeling neglected a little bit because when women go into you, they love harder than we do. They usually go all the way in. And I think that was her excuse to go back home. Whether it happened or not, I don't know. But the story that Suge and I told that she said comes from Misa. Now I still believe that that's a cover up, but this is one of these stories again. I hope Suge Knight and Collette Call talks about, and he explained what Misa told him, and the reason why she had to go back home, and why that split wrist incident happened. But the way Gene explains it, over there on my boy Cam Capone show, shout out Cam Capone, that was a great interview. No Art the Dialogue gonna be pissed at you for running an interview with a person at the same time. But hey, I don't blame you. I don't blame you. That's called being a businessman, right? Telling him to be mad at Gene, not you.
All right. So there's been 2 lawsuits that we've been able to see in regards to Diddy. And both of them are pretty similar in the sense that they both allege that Puffy tried to force them to do drugs and that Puffy enjoyed watching them be with other men. What do you think his fascination is with watching the girls that he's with be with other guys?
He ain't watching the females, he watching the guys. I keep telling y'all the nigga been battling with this homosexuality shit way before all this shit came out. Y'all be, you motherfuckers like always saying, and you too, John, Reggie be lying, Reggie making up shit. But if y'all go and listen to my videos before, y'all see I done spoke on all this bullshit before. Been telling y'all, Puffy Combs is a fucking homosexual. Any man sitting paying a motherfucking male to come and watch him have sex with his girl is a weirdo. Now, I know y'all be like, well, you don't watch porn? You don't watch porn? No, number one, I don't pay a motherfucking man to come and watch me or let me watch them a man. I mean, a girl. I ain't gonna pay no man to do that. And generally, if I'm watching porn, it's girl on girl. That's just my taste. But, yeah, that's crazy. But I've been telling y'all the niggas is gay. He's gay, but when you have to have the females around, you gotta hide that crazy fantasy y'all got. Gene done told y'all, the nigga going to buy butt plugs. Females that play with dildos and butt plugs and all that, they want their own. They want that shit broken out brand new or new. For you niggas that don't know, you go break out a dildo that you've been having laying around the house or something like that. Bitches be like, nigga, get that shit away from me. You better break it out of some plastic. How I know? I used to date. I don't do that no more. I am a happily married man now. But that's how that shit goes, y'all. That's how that shit goes. Puffy is a weirdo. Been telling y'all he's a weirdo, but now that it's out, everybody else can benefit from the stories. But Gene been telling y'all. That's one thing I give him credit for. He been telling y'all. He ain't been saying no words like I just harshly said it. But, dude, man, the dude, it's going to come out. Usher, somebody going to come out and tell y'all these stories. It's just a matter of time when they going to come out about this shit. I told y'all about Will and Dwayne. Remember I told y'all about that shit over 6-7 years on Art the Dialogue channel. Y'all go and read those comments. How many of y'all, this nigga just making up shit? What we talking about in 2023? Will and Dwayne. Keisha from Martin's husband and Will Smith. Where y'all get that shit from? I love how everybody been saying, oh, you been telling us. Oh, welcome back to the platform. Hey, man. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Man, I never heard that. Huh? Motherfucker, I'm the one that told you about Misa and the picture and all of that. Gene ain't tell y'all that. But okay. Okay. But to answer your question, John, sorry I went off track. But he does that because he really faking the funk. Don't want to really see that female. It's really the male. That's why he's hiring a male escort. Because when you hire a male escort, what can you do? Pick the type of man that turns you on. Pick the type of female that turns you on. That's why they're doing that. They can go to the club and meet anybody if that's what they want to do. But they want somebody that they can pick, that is going to come there, take the business. Because if you pick up chicks in the club, then you get in situations like, y'all about to get mad at me, but like Tupac got into, or Mike Tyson got into, where they want you to hug them after you do whatever you do to them. People like that, once you're done, how many times you done had your orgasm, I'll say the word, and then you was like, damn, I just did that with that bitch. What the fuck's wrong with me? How many times you do that? I wish this bitch get up and go now. I'm done. How many times have you been in that situation? But when you hire somebody, they beating you to that thought. I gotta go. Bye. Out of here. So that's where the craziness comes with the hiring people, and mainly because you're picking from a catalog, dog. You're picking from what you want, what turns you on. And that club shit, or meeting on the street shit, or like Tiger Woods was doing, meeting. You remember Tiger Woods? Y'all ever notice one thing about Tiger Woods? Everybody that he was accused of, what were they? They were waitresses. Because what he would be in the hotel, and he would meet them, talk to them, give them an extra little tip, and they would come up to the room. That's how they meet. But when you just order something, man, you can do whatever you want, when you want, how long you want, and then they out of your life, generally. And ain't got to worry about no accusations coming up 20, 25 years later, which is the craziest shit to me. Have a problem with it, y'all. Have a problem with anybody that's claiming to be a victim and hasn't been seeking psychological help. Shit, after a week. I mean, goddamn, how long? Man, it's crazy to me. But yeah. Did I answer your question, John?
Yeah, but in the process, you talked about how you have been talking about the photos and stuff with Misa and Suge and Puffy's son. Tell me about the story where Suge was going to run the ad with holding Diddy's son. And which magazine was that for? Was it going to be Rolling Stone, or was it going to be The Source, or where was it going to be?
Yeah, Rolling Stones wouldn't have did nothing like that. I really believe it was Dave Mays. I really mean it was the Source magazine. And why it got pulled, I don't know. Gene Deal keeps saying he saw it. With the East, what the East won't take care of, the West will. I don't remember it coming out. I knew about the situation. I knew about the photo shoot. I think it might have been a vibe. But Gene swears that it came out. Now, one thing I know about magazine prints and stuff like that, y'all on the East Coast used to get stuff quicker and sooner than we did. And so maybe it came out and Puffy made some calls and got it pulled. But I would challenge any of y'all to research that magazine. Find it. Send it to Bomb First. Got a t-shirt for you. If you send it to Bomb First at Hotmail. Can you believe John still got a fucking Hotmail account? Bombfirst at hotmail.com. Y'all send that. I got a t-shirt. The first person that can send that article with Suge taking a picture with the chain and saying that comment, got something for y'all. I don't think it's there. I think that's one of those things where Gene done heard me speak on it, and he's adding his story to it, or or it came out, but it didn't come out on the West Coast. But John, you pretty good at finding stuff like that.
Yeah, I feel like if something like that did come out, whether it was only on the East Coast or not,
It would
it
be
would have
on the
been on the
internet.
internet by now.
Correct.
Everything's on the internet by now.
And that's why I don't believe it ever came out. I think that's one of those Reggie Wright stories he's listening to, and he's ad-libbing to. But there was a photo shoot done about that, but trust me, I don't remember it coming out. And so, I'm taking that victory dance for a picture with him and Misa. Okay. Y'all give him the credit. Y'all like to. But the story he's been telling is about East, what the East won't take care of, the West will.
On our last set of interviews, you had talked about that you had a belief that Diddy was going to be raided soon over everything that's going on and that he might be being investigated. Given your history with predicting the future, so to speak, in the Keefe D situation, many people gravitated to that. Can you elaborate on what you feel like is going to happen with Puffy and what you feel like he's facing down the road?
No, I just believe law enforcement, I believe there's open cases. And we all know of the civil cases. But criminal cases, just like on the Keefe D situation, where it was so funny to me. Well, Billy Gordon wanted to pretty much say that because of his statements with our friend, my new friend, because of that interview that they did, that's the reason why Vegas got off their ass and made an arrest. I've been telling y'all for over a year it was coming, but they just did this interview in the summer. But I love it. I love it. But my point is, criminal investigations usually take a lot longer than somebody just to set it behind a computer and file a civil complaint. And it gotta be at least one criminal investigation going. What do a cop generally do? Only reason I bring up y'all boy Donald Trump and all of them because I'm trying to show y'all things that happened. What did they do before they started indicting him? They raided his house, right? They knew it. They called his Secret Service and told them they were coming, but they still do it. They raid your house because people like to hold on to things. They hold on to guns. Y'all wouldn't believe how many homicides that I done seen my father and Tim Brennan and Ladd and all of them solved from people that still had the murder weapon in their possession. You wouldn't believe. But people, for some reason, do it. The guy that killed two Compton cops. My father and his team found the gun because the guy, instead of getting rid of the gun, that mother gun would have been in so many different oceans, broken up. But a guy still had the gun. And he sold the gun to a friend. Motherfuckers is just stupid. Criminals are stupid. And I really believe y'all going, when Puffy house get raided, some of y'all said, some of the people over in the UK, shout out to our subscribers in the UK and France and all of that, have been reporting that we haven't heard about it, but there was a house that's owned or operated or that Puffy have leasing or something, I don't know, that was raided. I don't know about it. They say that some people said that Puffy was raided or brought in on the day of Keefe D arrest. They told him it was just a traffic warrant, but usually when they doing stuff like that, they do stuff like that to arrest you. But who have you ever heard of somebody with $1 billion getting arrested for some traffic shit? They just call your attorney and say, hey, your attorney deal with stuff like that. So I'm just trying to tell you, cops use stuff like that to fish. We call that a fishing expedition. And so they gonna go fishing on Puffy, either just to get his attention, and that'll be coming first. And then I do believe somebody, some DA, going to try to get some publicity off of this, and try Puffy on one of these cases. And it won't be Keefy D's. It won't be Keefy D's. But hey, prison is prison. If you're sitting in jail for molestation, murder, or anything, the only thing I can sit in prison for is killing somebody that hurt one of my family members or molesting one of my kids. I'll sit in jail. I'll sit in prison for the rest of my life or something like that. But if he got to sit in jail for something like that, then I'll just call it justice for Tupac.
Since the lawsuits and the allegations and all that stuff have come up with Diddy, a lot of video clips have resurfaced. Some of them are questionable comments by him where he's calling people daddy and this and that. And then there's other ones where it's like, I want to say a 14 or 15-year-old Justin Bieber is living with him and they're talking. And a young Usher is living with him and talking. Have you seen these clips, and do you have any thoughts on Diddy being around younger artists to, I guess at the time, get them, used to the industry? But I'm not really sure. Maybe you know why. Maybe you have a better reason as to why somebody would send their young potential star to live with a Puffy.
Yeah. Y'all about to get mad at me, but who gives a f***? Then y'all hear the situation with Michael Jackson? Then y'all hear this same situation and y'all blamed it on the parents with R. Kelly? Didn't y'all do that? Y'all did all of that to them. But unfortunately, y'all, parents see star potential into their kids at a young age. Is generally what happens. And I believe that they see these stars potentials in them, and and a parent would do anything to blow their kids up. Aaliyah mother settled for publishing rights for allowing R. Kelly to do what he did to Aaliyah. Janet Jackson family did it with the guy from can't think of his name right now, but I think it was the group called Shalamore or something like that. Did it with their family. She got her sister raising a kid, thinking that she's the mama. Yeah, I'll get too deep for y'all. But those situations has been happening for a long time where parents figure it won't happen to my kid, or hopefully it don't happen to my kid, or if it does happen to my kid, at least we'll be rich. And that's what happens sometimes with the guys, and you don't know. But there's some good situations out there that has happened as well with kids, in my mind. The Bow Wow situation. Bow Wow was never a victim around Death Row. Snoop or Suge or none of them ever messed with with Bow Wow while he was a kid growing up trying to be in the business. We haven't heard any situations like that with Brandy, to my knowledge. She was a young kid, but they're even though Brandy mama was always, in her life and all of that. But my point is, people allow them to be around people for that opportunity to blow up. Look at the girl, which is funny. Even though we can't believe a word she says, your favorite girl, that chick that you think is so fine that was with Aaron Hall, what's her name? Gloria something?
Oh, Gloria Velez.
Yeah, she calling out your boy Gene. She been calling him out, talking about he lying. But so there's situations like that that happened a lot back in the '90s, and you know even until today in my situation. I mean, in my opinion, but I couldn't do it. I would have to be around my child every day, but people has done it, and it's all behind that dollar bill, y'all. That dollar bill, that green. And some people will sell their soul for that dollar. And it's unfortunate. But that's what I believe the situation is. On the Justin Bieber and the Usher situation and all of that. You know, the Michael Jackson, the R. Kelly situation. We all have an opinion on all those situations, right? I know right now y'all saying, Michael ain't did nothing. Michael ain't did nothing. All right. I don't know. Wasn't there. But I know that little boy that got that big settlement described Michael Jackson's penis to the T. Every discolor on it. Y'all miss me with that. But damn. It's unfortunate. That's all I'm going to say. Shout out to the victims. Hope y'all get y'all recovery that y'all need.
Did you see where, and this is the last thing I'll kind of bring up about Billy Garland, but did you see where he believed that Tupac and Snoop's little riff or beef in New York was devised by Suge Knight as a way to divide and conquer? Did you see that?
Yeah. Billy just has a strong hatred for Suge. Suge Knight, he kind of alluded to why. I told y'all, when I tell y'all why Feeny got an autopsy and we helped her get that autopsy so quick? I told y'all about the DNA. But he kind of spoke on it. He know what was up. But, Reggie and Suge is the bad guys. But we just trying to help Pac's mom. But he hates Suge. He obviously hates Suge because Pac looked up to Suge as a big brother, something that Billy probably felt while he was going to making those trips to the prison that he had got his son back. But if y'all listen to the previous episode we did about Billy, y'all showed that that Pac still feel the way he did. Even after he said he saw a nigga that's standing over his bed that looked just like him. Right? And even after all of the alleged visits that they had. I'm not saying that they true or not. I'm not here to defend that. Just telling y'all his feelings still towards Billy after they met. But he has a strong dislike for Suge. We all know why Pac and Suge was mad. Pac and Tupac was mad. It was because of that incident that happened on the radio station with Angie Martinez. Nothing else, nothing more. Prior to that, Snoop was riding with Pac publicly. Privately. Until he heard that publicly, instead of having that conversation with him privately, because Snoop had every right to feel the way he did. You can't tell me, John. I can't tell John today. As much business as me and him do today, oh, you can't interview that person. You can't fuck with that person. And John don't tell me, oh, you shouldn't go on that channel. You shouldn't fuck with that channel or whatever. But, in my opinion, he owes me that respect to say, hey, I'm about to interview Gene Deal or so-and-so or this person or whoever. That he know I don't choke, snitch, no joke, or whoever. I can't tell him he can't do it or anything like that, and vice versa. But we owe each other that discussion privately before we hear about it or hear it publicly. That was all Tupac's argument or disdain or dislike or distrust or upset was with Snoop. Because he's like saying, hey, he saw him on the sideline laughing when he talking about fucking Faith. at the House of Blues a month prior. He saw him. He heard the song where he called him a dead eye, fat motherfucker, and all of that. He saw him on the set of the video shoot where he did the Scarface scene and all of that. So he knew his position. So I got to hear about it riding in the back of the limousine on the way, in New York when we out there on the radio talking about I got no problem with doing music with Biggie. I don't have no problem with them. That was the beef. I'm not sitting here today in 2023, and I'm not going to be a component of that to say that he would have still been mad at him for that. They probably would have had a conversation and worked it out. But that happened September the 1st or the 2nd. September the 6th, they hadn't worked it out yet. And they hadn't talked about it. And they were mad at each other. But I was mad at John last week. Didn't talk to him for 6 or 7 days. We worked it out. I'm just throwing an example. That ain't true. But, my point is, people get mad at people when they work shit out. So for me to say that that's the reason, or Tupac was going to always hate Snoop, I'm not going to do that. But I can honestly say that Suge Knight, it bothered Suge that was going on. I think that was one of those situations where Suge was smart. Suge knew how to just let shit play out. He was just like, hey, sit back and see what happens. I ain't getting in between that. He never tried to convince Snoop to go or to feel this way, other than to come and see him, to make that call to him and say, hey, you need to come to the hospital and see Pac, because Pac ain't looking good. Because why? He had been fighting for his life. And he was having to be, anyway, he wasn't doing well in the hospital. And he knew what Afeni was thinking and where her mindset was the next time that had happened. And so he told him, you need to get down there and see him. That's the only time between that time period that I ever seen Suge try to step in and mend the bridges between the two. He knew how to deal with both of them. He knew them better than anybody at that time, in my opinion. Especially better than Billy, who said he would have let Pac live with no lung, where a man that's a chain smoker, smoke weed, drink, and all that. Yeah, I agree. You might can adjust your life if you know how to do that. Well, Pac was tore up. No gunshots and the surgeries and all that messed Pac up. I don't believe Tupac would have wanted to live like that. My opinion as well, I think Afeni made the right decision. But who was Mr. Garland to go and question Feeney about that? I know y'all say that was the other half. She just got just as much right. But you lose those rights. You forfeit those rights when you elect to walk out of somebody's life until you get that relationship back, in my opinion. I think Billy ultimately agreed because they knew what his lawyers, he knew what Tupac's value was at that time. And he settled for $1 million. Billy always threw up the fact that he was cheated out of money and all of that. Well, when Tupac died, he wasn't cheated out of any money. He wasn't due any money. He probably was unrecouped to Suge Knight at that point. But yes, Suge did know money was coming. And, Pac was a star, superstar, and was going to be generating money and all of that. But I bring that point up only to say he threw all the comments talking about Suge owed him $10 million and all of that. He didn't know that. That ain't what the issue was. Because if Tupac was unhappy about something, as he always did, Tupac knew how to push those buttons to get what he needed from Suge Knight.
Daz launched a podcast, and it's on his YouTube channel. I'll go on record as saying it's got the worst host I've ever heard. But
She gonna get you,
he told a
John. You gonna
story
get tap
about
that now, John and Bomb first. John and Bomb first said that I ain't seen you yet, so I got to see how you look before I start capping at you.
Okay, okay. But anyway, I wanted to get your thoughts on his podcast in general, but in specific, he talked about a story, Jerry's Deli, which he probably told before because it kind of sounded familiar, but I wasn't sure. But I wanted to get your thoughts on it and just what he's talking about over there.
Well, he coming back down to reality. Daz told the truth, y'all. He told the truth on that incident. As I remember, well, towards the end, he was the one that him and his guy was the one that started zigzagging after it because I pointed my gun out, and that's when they almost lost control of the wreck. But at least he ain't telling the stories about being in the Marina Del Rey and body slamming me and beating up on Suge and choking us out and robbing us and taking stuff from us and all of that. So he coming down to reality a little bit. You know, Daz, I understand Daz disdain for me uh, because of things that I have said. But y'all got to remember, at one point in life, 97 to about 2001, me and Daz was living in the same complex in Marina Del Rey, in the Twin Towers, they call it, or something like that. I forget, the Marina City Club. And we used to, that nigga used to wake me up every morning. He'd be the one getting me out of the bed, because that's an early riser, motherfucker. That's one of those niggas that wake up early in the morning smoking weed. I guess niggas that smoke weed just got to be up. Everybody I know wake up, got to go smoke weed. You motherfuckers, y'all got an expensive habit. And he'd come over the house smoking, him and Priest, or him and Mac Shine. If Mac Shine spent the night over his house. That's one thing about Dad. So he never had no females over there. He always just had niggas over his house. That's strange. But anyway, so they'd come over our house, blowing me out, trying to, because they know I didn't have allow no weed, none of that shit in my house. But I didn't do it. I never have. And Daz, so I'm saying all that to say, me and Daz had a great relationship for those. So it bothers me that me and Daz started going at each other in 2000, after about 2002. Daz told the truth in that interview so far, where he said the last time he saw Suge, well, he don't explain when the last time he saw Suge, but the last time he saw Suge is when he got up and walked out of the visitor room crying because Suge told him that he wasn't doing any more albums on him. He wanted to build him as a producer, and he wanted him to run all his production and stuff like that. And Daz was like, oh, no, I want to do a video to every song. I want to do a video to every song and put that out. And Suge was like, Daz, no. I can get a camera for $10,000. No, Daz. I just need you to produce. And so that was the last time him and Suge saw each other. And he, like he said, he hadn't saw each other in 25 years. Daz, so I say all that to say, I really... Y'all know I'm weird. I'm crazy. I kind of like Daz. I don't really have no real major beef with Daz other than he think he's a super crip. But I know guys that act like that. Guys that act like they super crip or super paru or super bloods. Or generally the biggest actors or wannabes that you will ever meet in your life. The niggas that are real don't really say much. They talking a little bit. I'm been surprised. A lot of the guys that are starting to talk that are real OGs, and that was, you know, like Gangster. Gangster was everything he speak on over there on his show. But I ain't gonna start calling out names because I'll forget somebody and disrespect somebody, and I don't want to do that. But my point is, Daz wasn't that way, the way he comes off and want to present to y'all that he was. But, yeah, Daz, I wish him the best. I wish he get his quality and his mic and his production up. But if I'm keeping it real, me and John had to learn a few things with dealing with the camera work and the mics and all of that. And even though Bomb First it looks like we've been doing this a long time. We we haven't even been doing this on camera and stuff like that for 2 years. So hopefully they get it together, because I know Daz is real smart when it comes to um, technology and stuff like that, and he get his sound quality and his background and his as y'all call my house green screen. Yeah, stupid motherfucker. My green screen. If he get his green screen, that's the funniest shit. His green screen updated and stuff like that. Uh, it'll be a better podcast. Now we'll touch on a few things that he's talking about. Daz is openly admitting, I've been telling y'all about the Simon Says stuff. Ain't nobody forged his name. Nobody forged his name on any contracts or anything like that. So I don't know where Daz going with that. Wish he stopped that lie. But I did also hear him say he's just gonna wait it out before he try to get his money back right. He gonna go the route which everybody should do, which he talking about. He got about another, I guess, 5 or 6 years before he can get his rights reverted back to him. But that's just one album. That's just the Chronic. They didn't give you much credit on the Chronic, Daz. The stuff that I bought from you, other than the Chronic, you know that got about 8 or 9 more years. So yeah, we're gonna be getting that situated. Glad you keep speaking on it like that, because I know they got the paperwork, and so all you doing is helping me timestamp that you all been knowing who's the owner of all that music is. Uh, but Daz, hey man, shout out. Daz always like to be the one to say that he sued Death Row. Well, what happened was he did file a lawsuit. All they had to do was bring my agreement with him to show that I bought everything with him from him for $75,000. And that's where Suge playing lawyer and just didn't respond. But Daz forget, Death Row and Suge went through a bankruptcy. So any judgment you got, as you say, that paperwork, that judgment that you think you got, you know it's been dissolved. I'm sure your attorney, any bankruptcy attorney, will tell you that it's no good anymore. And so, and I wasn't in the bankruptcy, so that buyout between me and you was still good. But yeah, Daz did get a judgment for $25 million because Suge had just got that $100 million judgment from Harry-O, and he was like, shit, f it. But neither one of them will ever saw a red cent from it. And that's what's going on with that, with Daz. But I wonder what Daz was talking about. Y'all remember when he was showing y'all those fake checks online, talking about he was getting all this publishing money and stuff? Y'all remember those days? And then in the next breath, he's telling y'all paperwork was forged. Reggie and Alan Grumblock and all of them did all of this bad stuff to him. Where my buyout pretty much only covered Death Row times when it was with Interscope. So anything after that would be between you and E1 and Koch. But unfortunately, Daz, Death Row went through a bankruptcy. And Suge went through a bankruptcy. And all of that got deleted and wiped out. But, as you always say, and you know, and I'm like that, and I hope you keep teaching people that, and that's what I want people to teach artists about that 35-year rule. And I think it's called the reversion or something like that. Law, keep teaching that, keep preaching that, and in 5 to 7 years, you will be doing good if you live that long. Just being that super crip. I don't know too many old Green members. That was not real. Peace.
Can you talk about Diddy's baby mom Misa being around Death Row? How she first came around, what she was doing around, and did she have any work professionally with Death Row?
Okay. She came around with Mary J. Blige. I'll refer y'all to the Danny Boy stories on those because he is kind of being factual with how she was always coming around with Mary J. That's the first time I saw her. That's when Mary, any of y'all from New York know when Mary was riding around in that bright red 500 SL. I remember them pulling up at the, we used to say at the X's house. We would leave at the Four Seasons in New York, in Manhattan, or the X's house, the Nikos. And we was at the Nikos this particular time. And they pulled up, she pulled up, and Mary and her came in, and that's when I believe Suge and Misa started communicating with each other. She never did any styling work for us, even though she was a stylist. That was her profession. I think she was going to do some styling work or stylish work or wardrobe work. That's what they call it, wardrobe. But I don't remember and don't remember of her doing any. No, Pac didn't need any done by her. Danny Boy, she wasn't on the set of those two videos that he did. And definitely Dog Pound, those niggas was just G'd up. And so, yeah, don't remember Misa doing any wardrobe work for Death Row. But she was around. Remember that incident when she came, of course, when she came in town. I told y'all before how I went and delivered her some money at her house one time. Yeah, I'm sure it was Suge always, that was his way of getting back at it. We used to call him Eagle. He'll try to swipe down on your woman. And him and Pac had a fetish with that, with messing with other people's women and picking them up. And that's all that happened. And she was an art of war, unfortunately. And didn't last too long. I remember, like I said, we hooked up with him again when we was out there with Koch Entertainment. I had finished up the deal, and we went out there to sign the paperwork, and that's when Suge went and did all of those sittings on 106 in Park and Wendy Williams show and all of that. And doing that little tour. We had just signed with Koch at the end of 2000 and at the beginning of 2002, January, and we saw him at it was a strip club, and I heard it's closed down now, called Sue's or something like that, in the Bronx. And we saw them at that club. But at that time, she was married. And I remember that's the night when I told y'all we were out with matter of fact, we went into the factory district to a club that night after we left the strip club, or it might have been the next night, and she was there, and that's when I always tell y'all Von Zip and Suge saw each other, and Suge didn't recognize who Von Zip was, and I had to tell him, hey, that's that dude Von Zip that's supposed to had something to do with the murder of Tupac. And I'll just tell that story just to show that I knew that Suge didn't even know who Von Zip was. Because he was looking like, oh, okay, that's that nigga. And I remember we was at a club in a fashion district. Okay, yeah. So we was out there, or it might have been even the meat district. I don't know, it was crazy. It might even been something about meat or something, but it was a bunch of warehouses we was around. And we was at that club, and that's when Misa's husband was there. I remember her introducing her to Suge, and he being there, and we saw Von Zip that night, and that's when Wendy Williams' husband was hanging out with us, and that Hollywood ass nigga was running around with us. So we was out there in New York, and that was the last time that I saw Misa. But she seemed to always been a cool chick. Y'all first saw her. Most of the people saw her and was introduced to her. She's the young lady that was sitting in the jacuzzi in the I Wonder Why You Call Me Big Papa video, was that? Or, yeah, with the Afro puffs. Sitting in the jacuzzi with Puffy and y'all. That was the young lady in that video. That's what Misa, that's who she is. And I never heard Suge say anything bad about her. It was always positive vibe and good, good conversation about her. Seemed to be cool. So And she doesn't really talk bad about Puffy. I don't really hear her saying anything publicly bad about Puffy. And so she must be a cool, baby mama. Here she was with that dude. I know I seen a picture of her recently with that dude that got killed. That was a major allegedly snitch in New York. Can't think of his name right now. I know y'all tell me in the comment section. But I know that was the last picture or last thing I saw of her when she was in a relationship with him. Was it Alpo? I think Alpo or somebody like that. That the guy that got killed, that was an informant that had just got out of prison. I heard they were dating at one point. But yeah, Misa and Mary was cool. It's funny, because now we even hear reports that Mary and Puffy was messing around back in the day doing the Uptown days. And she got an abortion by, had never heard that. Never in life heard that until recently, but somebody's reporting it. Probably that bitch Jaguar Wright or somebody. Don't know. But, yeah, that's all I know about Misa. Shout out Misa. Hope you're doing well. You and your son. Don't know how this affecting you. Don't know how this is affecting you, but maybe you can help him if he's getting messed up by it. And come clean. Come clean to everybody. And tell him who his real dad is. Y'all look at this picture. Y'all tell me that don't look like that man's. That man's son. And not Puffy Combs' son. Y'all know who that is? That's Puff's right-hand guy, Wolf. Y'all know I can't miss an opportunity to take a shot at you East Coast niggas. Because y'all do it at us every chance y'all get. We just don't have a big enough voice because gangsters don't like talking on the internet as much as you niggas from the East do.
Okay, Reggie, did you see that Mob James is doing a series of interviews on Vlad? And one of them, I know that he's done a series, a bunch of them that you may want to speak on, but one of them in particular that I wanted to ask you about was where he said that he thinks Suge could cooperate in the Tupac murder if Keefe D were to pass away.
Gang members, I ain't gonna say gangsters because I tell y'all gangsters in all walks of life. But that seemed to be a common theme from gang members. I'll just say two that's big on YouTube that have both said that. Mob James, who I believe is a gang member and a gangster in his prime during his younger days. I believe he's a man now. Trying to, be a family man and a good person. But Big U also did a segment on Vlad a few years ago where he was getting on Keefe D for snitching, and then once Vlad brought up, and I'll play it, have John play it. I know Vlad loves us.
He was given a deal, and this was...
Keefe D was?
Yeah, Keefe D.
Oh, so he snitched. No, I don't want to hear shit.
Yeah. So the deal essentially was they had caught him with a bunch of PCP, and they allowed him to say what he knew about Tupac's murder in exchange for them dropping all those charges. And the way the deal was set up, whatever he said, as long as it wasn't proven to be false, it couldn't be used against him directly to indict him. And at the time, essentially everyone outside of him was dead. That was in that car.
Oh.
Orlando was already dead at the time.
Oh.
Everyone else in the
car. So
car.
he told him a dead man.
Essentially.
Oh, different.
So did y'all hear Big View said it as well, where he said, it's not snitchy if the person dead. So, I guess gang members look at it at that way, or believe once everyone's dead. I think James and Vlad and everybody didn't understand or remember that Big Dre was still alive when, I mean, he was dead as well. It was T-Bone that was still alive when they gave those statements. So it was also implicating Terrence T. Brown, because he was still alive. But I think everybody believed that all three, other than Keefe, was dead at the time, when that's not actual or factually true. So I will have to acquiesce to people like Kev Mack Show or Melly Mel Show, or the next time we do a podcast with James. I would love for Gangster to chime in. People like that I know are very reputable in Compton, the LA area. I mean, I know there's gangsters and gang members in other areas other than L, to their feelings and their thoughts on when someone's dead and you tell on them. Is that still considered snitching? And we use that word snitching too loosely now, where it don't really mean shit anymore anyway, in my opinion. I'm one that believe you only snitching when you're telling on a crimey. Somebody that you get in the car with, go and do something with, and then to get your sentence lighter, you go and cooperate and tell. That's one of the only reasons that I consider snitching. I believe if you walking down, if you're a civilian, yeah, do whatever you gotta do. But to me, snitching is only when you tell on your own crimies, somebody that you conspiring with. I know y'all that ain't never been bust a grape in your life have different meanings of the word snitching and all of that. I can read your comments already, but crimies, yet people that's you're not involved in a crime with, no. But I can't answer. I can't honestly give a correct statement right now. Is that snitching when you tell a story on a crimey when the crimey is dead to lighten your sentence? Because the obvious thing would be, if that's your homeboy, if that's your boy, y'all did something, murked someone, took someone's life, and y'all got away with it, and you could not go and spend the rest of your life in prison by telling on me, who the law can't, only God can judge me. Only, you remember when Pac said that? If that's the only way you can be judged, then have at it. So I really believe that's what James was saying when he was saying Suge would tell, but Suge wasn't Keefe D. Crimey. And so I would have a problem with that. My whole take on the whole thing is, I know y'all say you was a cop, you this, you that. My thing is, you do one or two things. And anybody, y'all can ask Swoop G, I ain't gonna start naming names, but there's so many situations where Reg's situation was, I'll say it, the Outlaws, we can handle it this way, or we can handle it this way. How you want to handle it? Because they were neither crimies in those situations. They was either witnesses or victims. But that's Reg's way of thinking. I would want to hear some gangsters chime in on it and their opinion on what Big U, who's someone I kind of like, or James, who y'all know I love, their reasoning, and will expound or explain that. So that would be my take on that. But other than that, other than James getting back at Suge Knight for his James Williams and his Tupac knocking him out, lies, because they lies, or statements. I'll say statements. I'll be nice. Then I love what James is saying and doing over there. Vlad, shout out to Vlad. I love that you looked out for my boy James and let him tell his story again. So it'll show my partner John, and that James still has that value on, and not only John, Gangsta Chronicles and everybody. Mainly Gangsta Chronicles who dropped the ball because James still over there getting his 80 to 100,000 views an episode. Well, Gangsta Chronicles, you're lucky if you get 3. Yep.
Can you tell me the story about how either you approached the Outlaws or the Outlaws approached you, or however it went to where you guys ended up talking to police and they were willing to or they wanted to possibly ID somebody if that was the case. But how did you guys end up at the police station to do that on the Tupac case?
Well, there's an article in the LA Times that spelled it out with Chuck Phillips. For those of y'all that like to have stuff fact-checked for y'all. And that was pretty much Chuck writing after the meeting with the Vegas PD. But Vegas PD was trying, and some people been reporting to y'all like we flew out to Vegas to meet with Vegas PD. You know, it happened at City of Compton Police Department. And so, as I try to explain to y'all, my job as head of security, were to work with law enforcement. Those guys, Suge on down, didn't want to deal with law enforcement. And if law enforcement needed to talk or want to talk to anybody, it was Reggie's job to facilitate it, to see what's going on. And if it was something criminally, it was the bid attorneys, David Kenner or whoever he hired to deal with law enforcement. So they were trying to reach out, and they were putting out to the press how Death Row and people wasn't cooperating with the murder investigation and all of that, and how they wanted to talk to the witness, Yak and Edie, who was in the car behind them, because they had already talked to Frank, and so they had no need to talk to Frank, but they wanted to speak to those two, who were the other two in the car. And so they reached out to Death Row to try to facilitate that. And of course, Norris, who was the general manager at the time, he told me, who was the head of security at the time, what was going on. And so I set up arrangements with them because I didn't trust them. So Norris got permission from Suge for me to take and do my job as the head of security for Death Row. And so I met with Gaddafi, with Yak and Edie. We all know that Yak died in November of '96. So it would have been sometime in October of '96. After Suge had got arrested, because he got arrested October the 22nd, 1996. And so it was from the 22nd of '96 until the time he died. And so I understand now, being a father of a 22-year-old boy, while Yasmin have a lot of are upset. I don't think she disliked me. Well, no, she's disappointed, maybe, I think is a better word. For she always said for me, having Yak and Edie go down to meet with Vegas or any law enforcement without talking to her, because she and I had a decent and a working relationship. Now, of course, I'm thinking, well, Yak at the time was about 20 to 21 years of age. Why would I have to get his mother permission, But I understand. Trust me now, being a father, I totally understand. And but I convinced Edie and Yak to, that hey, you niggas ain't gonna do nothing. The raids done happened. Suge done got arrested. We need to get these niggas in jail. Vegas needs to want to interview you. And they want to show you pictures of the person who they believe were in the car that shot Tupac. I, to this day, can sit up here and say that Edie and Yak had decided that they were going to identify Orlando, Keefe, Reggie Wright, or whoever that Vegas PD was going to show them. And so we all get in the car, ride down there, and go to Compton PD, not Vegas PD, Compton Police Department, because that's where I feel comfortable taking them, because I knew it wasn't going to be no funny shit going on, because my daddy was there, and Bobby Ladd, and all of them were there. And so we went down there and met. They take immediately, talk and say, hey, this is who they are. They immediately started being like an attitude because they didn't think we were going to show up. And so they take him in a different room and go off to the side, Brent Becker and his partner. And then about 5 or 10 minutes later, they come back in the room talking about, they're not going to cooperate. They, there's nothing we can get from them. They no use. And so I asked Yak and Edie, what happened? They're like, Red, they up here going off on us. Like, why y'all only want to meet with us because, with people with Reggie Wright Jr. and Death Row? Why when we was trying to call y'all didn't return our calls? And, like picking an argument with them. And so that right there showed me that, okay, these motherfuckers. They didn't want to solve this case. They just want to pick at the young black men. And, because I done been around that type of police work. And so that's why Brent Becker talk all that bullshit about Reggie Wright Jr. and all of that now, because he know I was like, fuck them after that. They're going to treat the guys like that. We trying to cooperate. And like I said, once again, I'll go and say be on record. Y'all know Edie's online. Edie has his podcast. Shout out Edie and all of that. But they have never told me that they were going to identify Orlando or anything like that. Now, I know they could have identified Orlando if they wanted to that particular day. I know that for sure. But I don't know that they were going to do that. And that's what happened. That's why Yasmin is disappointed, I'll use that word, with me. And that's what I did. And that's the only reason that those two young men went down there to attempt to identify or possibly identify or allegedly identify or look at what they call a six-pack. That's the only reason they went down there and was offered to go down there. So all of that, other things, conspiracies and stuff that people have out there, it's just not true. But hey, what does it matter? You conspirators, you people that believe all of the bullshit that y'all do, keep on. That's y'all opinion. That's y'all right. That's y'all belief. Because as we know, y'all don't give a fuck about Tupac Shakur and his legacy at all anyway. Because if so, everybody would be cheering on the DA and Vegas for what they doing instead of sitting up there criticizing and still trying to muddy up the investigation. Because I haven't seen a YouTuber out here that's really saying, okay, good job, Vegas PD, other than maybe Vlad TV channel. Good job for at least and Greg Kadings, murder rap people. Good job for getting us the truth of what happened on this investigation. Maybe my boy DJ AG, don't know what he been reporting. But people like that, but all you other channels, seem like y'all just out here trying to muddy up the investigation to me, which is unfair. Let the attorneys do it. Let them play out what happens, what the truth and stuff. Not no motherfucking broke motherfuckers living in their mama house that's on YouTube every day trying to put out stuff, and motherfucker with carpet on his head trying to, because he's been wrong and killing off all his DVD deals. And shout out Murder Rap and Unsolved, because I saw y'all got a new deals coming out. Yeah, I know Carpethead Youth pissed, but shout out to them. Got a new deal in February. I seen advertisement that they're going to be running their shows again on some major platforms, streaming services. So y'all check them out and hear those different theories. Yep. Peace.
Is it true that in '96, when the Bad Boy Death Row beef was at its height, that Suge stopped communicating with Snoop because he found out that he was going and meeting with Puffy or meeting with people in New York?
That was for about 2 weeks. That was about 2 weeks. And in fairness to Snoop, that one had nothing to do with... I never heard Bad Boys, I'll be honest. But it was the East Coast in general. But some people said that they heard Bad Boys. I don't know. But I know it definitely was with... I think the deal ended up being with... I forget who they ended up doing it with. But I was just talking to Lil C Style about it the other day because he's still mad about some of his money that he's owed. But it was mainly Snoop was going out there to shop. The group, damn, can you think? The Beware My Crew, LBC crew. Badass and Lil C Style and all of them. He was really going out there to shop their deal because he felt that Suge was dragging his foot on giving them a deal and giving them a shot. And so Snoop went out there to do that. Suge took offense to it, I think, but I always heard he went out there really to meet with Def Jam. Def Jam must have passed on it. I'm sure Warren G is the one that probably set up that meeting, but they did pass on it, and they ended up getting a deal with another distributor. I don't know if it was Columbia or who, and they got out. And so Suge had heard about it, and he stopped communicating with him. But the myth is that it was behind him going out there sneaking to meet with Puffy. And now I don't think that was his intent. I'm pretty sure he met with them or saw them when he went out there. I did hear some interviews where Snoop pretty much admitting or saying that that's when he heard Biggie's song or his album or something like that. And that's when people speculate that's when Biggie heard that line about, I want to sell millions like Snoop, oops. I always thought it was a diss, but a lot of y'all say Biggie was giving props to Snoop on that. I don't know. I'll let y'all debate it. Maybe, matter of fact, John, you the music guy for us. What you think of the diss, and if you can quote it right, because you know Reggie Wright probably f***ed it up.
You actually quoted it spot on. You didn't mess it up at all.
Yeah, okay.
But I could see it either way. I don't know. I feel like people on the East Coast think it was props, and I honestly don't know, to be honest with you. I could see it both ways. But I know Snoop loves to play it like they were best friends, and when he came to the studio to meet with Biggie, that Biggie played it for him, and the Snoop was all happy about this, so I know he takes it as a compliment.
Yeah. But, can y'all see how Suge look at that as, and Pac definitely look at that as being disloyal? It's obvious that they worked through it because they kept and they continued messing with each other. Pac and Snoop did music together after that. After that situation, we know they did the event at the House of Blues together. Don't know how Snoop feelings were about Hit 'Em Up, because I know that came out a little later. Don't remember him being in How Do You Want It video shoot or being around that. And I know that, but he wasn't involved in that song. So I can't really think of anything where they did film or were together publicly other than the House of Blues incident that I can remember or think of. But I also know that they were out there at the MTV Music Awards. Some of y'all will say, and y'all look at this picture, that Snoop was looking at Pac with a bunch of hate and venom then. But from what I know of Snoop, that was just Snoop being high. I don't think he had no hatred and going on Pac at that time. But who knows? Because hours, I mean, I'm talking literally hours later, he made that statement on the radio station, at the radio station with Angie Martinez about he has love for the East Coast and pretty much that he would do music or do work with Bad Boys record and Biggie, and that drove Pac crazy. And that's the incident that happens where Suge or Tupac explained it. I'm sorry, Snoop explained to y'all from the airplane ride and stuff like that. And the reason why, Warren G like to say he's the reason that Snoop wasn't in the car in Vegas. But we all know it was because of that incident that happened 3 to 4 days prior that Snoop wasn't in Vegas. So, yeah.
And that's a good point that you bring up, because a lot of people in a lot of interviews say, I could have been in the car or I was supposed to be in the car. On a regular, on a regular night when there was a caravan like that, if anybody were to be in the back seat of a car that Suge was driving and Tupac was in the passenger seat, who were the people that would normally be in the car? Just to clear that up for once and for all.
A bitch, or just Suge and Tupac. Generally, they be in their own cars. That's one thing people generally like to do is drive their own cars. You very, very rarely saw, and I know it's a picture out there with Suge in the car with Tupac in his Rolls Royce. I've seen that picture before. But other than that picture, you won't find them in the cars together. And then the one where, of course, that night, and y'all done heard the reasons why Tupac jumped in the car with Suge at the last minute. If y'all listen to Frank interviews, but generally they rode their own cars because why? Why? Number one, they like showing off their cars. They worked and spent a lot of money on these cars, and image was everything to them. But the main reason is because they were 25 to 30 years old. And when you're that age, and single, what is more importantly than anything to you? Bitches. You pull bitches. And you make one of them get in the car and ride back to the hotel, to the house with you. And so that's generally why people wanted their own cars. And gang members and gangsters, why? Because they want to be able to get to their guns. Because every one of those niggas had a stash box in their car, except Tupac. Tupac didn't. But in all the Suge cars, there were stash boxes in them. So my point is, no one, to answer your question, other than themselves or maybe a homeboy, will be in the car with them. Definitely. I ain't never rode in a car with Suge Knight, other than a limo or something like that. But in one of his private cars, no, I can't say that. But it was very rare. And generally it was, you trail them, you ride behind them. And so the question is really answered by John, and I know where he's going, is to show you that security didn't ride with Tupac, Suge, ever in the cars, ever. They might have drove them late at night when those niggas been drinking a little bit too much. And that was mainly Pop, because Suge never really, I only seen that nigga drunk 2 times in my life. And that was generally because we was in the hotel, sitting out there in the restaurant, and him was playing around drinking. He very rarely got to the point where he wasn't able to drive. And Pac would do it because he would just be tired, wore out. The man very rarely slept. He was a workaholic. He always had something going on, especially the 11 months that I've known him. I can only talk about those 11 months. But he was a workaholic. So that's why, but no, these niggas was not like the artists of the day and all of them who just had security. They wasn't Beyonce and Michael Jackson and all of them where the security ran their lives. Might have should have been after your Monday back quarterback and all of that. But the 90s, it wasn't like that. You see what that special transportation will get you. You get too many people in your lives. Then you got ex-security guards and stuff like that telling your life stories because you had no privacy. And so they human too. They had their times where they needed to be alone or to sneak off somewhere, go from this spot to this spot. And so they always had an automobile where they can do things on their own. But they were still young. They were not the presidents of the United States and people like y'all want to make them. Y'all want to build people up to be bigger than what they were and what they was. These niggas wanted to go and have these nice, beautiful, why work so hard and have a 500 SL and all of that if you had to have security driving you around in it? That's not how they think, y'all. Come on, be realistic. Everybody ain't like how Kobe Bryant was after basketball games. You know, I'm sure Kobe Bryant, Michael Jackson, these people used to have to close down Disneyland and stuff like that, book it where they can go and these young gangster rappers wasn't doing it like that. Where they, they didn't want to be like that. They want to be touched. They want to be touchable. They want to interact with their people. Y'all keep wanting to make niggas to be hoes and bitches because that's how y'all would be if y'all was in that situation. The niggas wasn't thinking like that in the 90s. And niggas wasn't on no superstar status and billionaire status like these dudes are today. Niggas was just really millionaires. We living in a different time period for money where all these guys flying around on G5s and stuff like that.
Can you talk about
niggas
the
was
incident
getting on commercial planes
where death row
in the
members went to seek out Snoop Dogg
the NBA team,
after he had left
Magic
the label
Johnson,
in
all of them,
early
private
1998?
planes in their heyday.
And what exactly happened during that confrontation?
Yeah. You talking about with Master P and at the Universal Lamp, right?
Yeah.
All right. So what happened was Snoop did a couple of songs, and now that he was signed and had been, I won't say sold because y'all get mad. Black folks get mad for some reason when I use the word sold. You act like y'all was slaves or some shit before. But his rights was assigned to Priority Records. But Snoop was dissing Suge and Sharita and doing songs on mixtapes and stuff. And so I knew Snoop was going to be there. And I knew I had a relationship with Priority, and me and Pete was kind of cool. And so there was a guy named Mark Benish that was the vice president at Priority at the time. So I told him I needed some backstage passes. Yeah, Reg, whatever you need, that's how Priority was. So I took about 4 or 5 of the homies up there. and to talk to him. I'm like, hey, we done released your shit, Snoop. Why you keep disrespecting and talking shit about Suge on records and stuff? What's up, man? You gonna stop talking about the homies, the homie like that? And I never seen Snoop act like this. But I swear, every time I watch this movie Baby Boy, and he, after Jody left, how he got all like, oh, fuck Suge, and, he got all like that and started talking like that. And I was like, what? And, Buntry and them off to the side, talking to Priest and Dash. Those niggas always trying to just get weed and shit. Because all those niggas was like cool. They had a cool relationship. But me and Snoop was over there talking, and I'm like, wait a minute. And so Trayvon overheard how he was talking. And I looked at Trayvon and whatever, because I ain't one to say like I was giving gang members shot calling or giving them orders or nothing like that, because I wasn't. But they knew their role. They knew what we were there for. And Trayvon bombed on him because he kept disrespecting the homie. And that's when Snoop and Daz and Priest, the bitch, came out of them. Because they remember how things used to go. They was at the L-Ray theater and stuff. And those niggas took off running. And then the police report. Y'all see the police report? It said they ran over there because they knew and they remembered that the police was stationed over there. And so they ran straight to the police with all that marijuana and stuff in there. So the police eventually ended up arresting them. Probably wrote them a citation or whatever for having the weed in their pocket. But during the time, they were interviewing them and talking to them, how cops start doing. And they asked him, they go, hey, why, who killed Tupac? Because that's the question everybody always asks when they hear anybody from Death Row or anything related to Death Row Records. And so he said, yeah, the nigga sat next to him. And that's why I always say Snoop was a snitch and die snitching and telling and try to implicate Suge on the murder of Tupac. He probably was just being mad. And you know how niggas say shit when you're mad. You know how your girl, when next time she get mad at you, what's she gonna say? You little dick motherfucker or something like that, That's just how niggas do when they get mad. And so, yeah, that's what happened on that incident. As I always said, Snoop did that, said that, but who knows where his heart was on that. I don't think he believed that or ever believed that. And some of y'all will be making, that's why Suge getting back at Tupac, at Snoop, talking about the murders and stuff like that, because Snoop has been doing it at him. Maybe they tit for tatting on each other. Who knows? But one thing I always give Master P credit for, the next day he called me with Snoop on the phone. I was like, Reg, man, you cost me hundreds of thousands of dollars, man, doing that shit. What's up? We gonna have problems every time we see each other and all that? And Mom was like, nah, P. We were just trying to talk to that nigga. He thought because he was there with y'all, he forgot how shit went. And P was like, all right, well, that's between y'all. And Snoop was like, Reg, what's up? I was like, no, but you ain't gonna keep dissing the homie. And you ain't gonna keep talking bad about him and doing all of that bullshit. Snoop was, I forget what he said. I ain't gonna sit up here and say he ain't gonna say it. He ain't gonna ever do it again. But the conversation went well, and for that day, And so, yeah, that's what happened. That's the story about the Universal Amp. And shout out Master P for being a peacemaker that day, and the No Limit Soldiers for maybe staying out of it. Because I remember P's last words were, hey, let's go. They got business they need to work out. So I always wondered how Snoop felt about that, if he realized how P left him for dead that day. I always wondered how that conversation went. But it's obvious, 'cause they selling cereals together. It's obvious they good. Yeah.